In the heart of Chicago, Adam Whitman, a wealthy heir from a powerful white family, falls in love with Selena Cruz, a woman with a dark past and gang ties, but a heart determined to change her neighborhood. Their love sparks a war with his family, tests loyalty, and challenges everything he's ever known. Can love survive wealth, power, and secrets? Watch as danger, passion, and redemption collide in a story you won't forget. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment to follow every twist of this thrilling tale. The city of Chicago glowed like a field of stars that night. From the Riverwalk, the skyscrapers reached for the heavens, their glass facades shimmering under the moonlight. Inside the exclusive gala hall, champagne flutes clinked, a jazz quartet played something slow and velvety, and Chicago's wealthiest elite mingled as if the entire city existed for them. Adam Whitman stood at the heart of it all, looking like he belonged, because he did. At 38, Adam had perfected the effortless charm that came with old money. He was tall, lean, with sharp cheekbones, ice blue eyes, and blonde hair slicked back neatly. His black tuxedo was tailored to precision, his cufflinks understated but undeniably expensive. People gravitated toward him, board members, city officials, and ambitious socialites, all eager for a word with the heir to the Whitman fortune. But Adam's mind was elsewhere tonight. He'd been to dozens of these galas, smiled through hundreds of champagne toasts. It all felt empty, hollow. He was bored with the routine of privilege, until the moment she walked in. Selena Cruz stepped into the ballroom like a force of nature. She was nothing like the polished women Adam was used to. Golden brown skin that seemed to glow under the warm lights, shoulder-length dark curls that framed her face, and eyes that held a kind of fire that made people look twice. Her dress was sleek, black satin that hugged her curves with quiet confidence, but her tattoos, faintly visible when she moved, hinted at a past that didn't belong in this room. The room seemed to shift when she appeared. Conversations faltered, curious glances turned her way. Adam couldn't look away. Selena Cruz, the announcer said as she took the stage. Founder of the Southside Rise Initiative. Adam raised an eyebrow. So that's who she is. Selena spoke with a voice that was smooth but strong, each word landing with the kind of conviction that silenced the clinking glasses. I grew up 3 blocks from where 3 kids were shot last month, she began, looking directly at the crowd. I know what it feels like to have no options except the streets. But I also know what happens when someone gives you a chance, when someone believes you can be more than your mistakes. Her words weren't polished like the politicians or CEOs who had spoken before her. They were raw, real, and painfully honest. Adam found himself leaning forward slightly, captivated. When we built the community center, we didn't just put up a building, Selena continued. We gave kids a place to dream, a place to stay alive long enough to dream. The room applauded politely, but Adam felt something tighten in his chest. This woman isn't just speaking to them, he thought. She's challenging them. When she stepped down from the stage, Adam didn't think, he just moved. You were incredible up there, he said, stepping into her path. Selena's eyes flicked to him, cool but curious. Thanks. I wasn't sure they were listening. Oh, they were? Adam said with a small smile. I was. Something about his tone made her pause. Most men at events like this either looked at her like a charity case or like a scandal waiting to happen. This man looked at her like she was the most interesting thing in the room. And you are? She asked. Adam Whitman. Recognition flashed in her eyes. Ah, the Whitmans. Real estate, shipping, energy, pretty much everything in Chicago, right? Something like that, he said lightly. Selena gave him a measured look. So, what does a man who already has the whole city want from me? Adam chuckled softly. Dinner. Just dinner. And maybe a conversation where you don't look like you're ready to throw me into the river. That earned him the smallest of smiles. I don't bite, Mr. Whitman. Good, he said, holding her gaze. Because I think I'd like to keep talking to you. Before she could respond, a familiar voice cut through the noise. Adam. He turned to find Catherine Whitman standing nearby, elegant in a silver gown, her blonde hair swept into a chignon. She looked at Selena with a polite but unmistakably appraising stare. Catherine, Adam said smoothly. This is Selena Cruz. Catherine's smile didn't quite reach her eyes. Of course. I've read about your initiative. Very noble. Selena inclined her head slightly. Thank you. Adam, Catherine continued, her tone light but pointed, your father is looking for you. The mayor just arrived. I'll find him in a minute, Adam said, not taking his eyes off Selena. Catherine's smile thinned almost imperceptibly, but she didn't argue. Don't take too long. When she left, Selena arched a brow. That your sister? Unfortunately, yes, Adam said with a wry smile. She doesn't like me. She doesn't like anyone who isn't a Whitman, Adam replied. But I'm not asking her opinion. Selena hesitated. This was dangerous territory, not just for her reputation, but for the fragile balance she was building in her own life. You don't know me, she said carefully. Then let me, Adam replied. Dinner. Tomorrow night. My penthouse. Selena studied him for a long moment, weighing his sincerity. Men like him didn't usually go for women like her. Not seriously. Not unless they were trying to shock their families. But there was something about the way he was looking at her. Steady, calm, like he wasn't trying to save her or scandalize anyone. Finally she nodded once. One dinner. That's it. Adam's smile widened, the first genuine one he'd worn all night. That's a start. Later, as Selena left the gala and stepped out into the crisp night air, she exhaled slowly. She could feel eyes on her, could almost hear the whispers following her. The Whitman heir and the girl from the South Side, it was the kind of story Chicago's gossip columns lived for. She didn't know why she'd agreed. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe it was the way he looked at her like he saw her, not just her last name. Or maybe she just wanted to see what it would feel like to step into a world that had always been closed to her. But deep down, Selena knew one thing. This wasn't going to be simple. And when Catherine Whitman watched her from the second-floor balcony, a glass of champagne in hand, she knew it too. Adam's penthouse was nothing like Selena had expected. When she imagined how Chicago's elite lived, she thought of something cold, sterile, all glass and steel, a place that felt more like a showroom than a home. But as the elevator doors slid open and she stepped into his space, she found warmth. The floor-to-ceiling windows framed the glowing city and Lake Michigan beyond. Soft amber light spilled across sleek furniture, and the faint sound of jazz hummed from somewhere hidden. It felt less like an exhibition of wealth and more like an invitation. Adam stood near the windows, jacket gone, sleeves rolled to the elbows. He looked less like the polished billionaire from the gala and more human. Red or white? He asked, holding up 2 bottles. Water, Selena said, her lips twitching. Adam smiled and set the bottles aside. Fair enough. He poured her a glass and motioned to the dining area, where a private chef had just placed the last dish on the table. Selena glanced at the perfectly plated meal and let out a small laugh. You realize I eat tacos from a food truck most nights, right? Then I guess tonight will be a little different, Adam replied easily. Sit. Selena took the seat opposite him, feeling the quiet between them stretch. She wasn't nervous, not exactly, but she could feel the weight of the world outside these walls pressing in. You know, she said finally, your sister doesn't like me. Adam chuckled softly. Catherine doesn't like anyone she can't control. Don't take it personally. She looked at me like I was a grenade you accidentally brought to a dinner party, Selena said dryly. She'll get over it. Selena's eyes flicked up to him. Will she? Or will she dig until she finds something she can use against me? Adam's smile faltered. You think I haven't Googled you, Whitman? You're not just rich, you're Chicago royalty. People like me don't just date people like you without someone trying to make a headline out of it. Adam leaned back, studying her carefully. And what would they find? Selena hesitated, then took a slow breath. She could lie. She could make him believe she was just a reformed neighborhood girl running a nonprofit for kids. But if she did and Catherine found out the rest, and it would destroy everything. My family, Selena began, her voice low, isn't exactly the kind of family you bring home to meet the Whitmans. My brother used to run with a crew on the South Side. Half my cousins still do. And me, she looked down at her hands. I wasn't just some bystander. I did things I'm not proud of. I have a record, juvenile. I broke into stores, ran with gangs, even got arrested once for armed robbery. Adam stayed silent, his expression unreadable. I spent a year in juvie, she continued, and when I got out, I swore I'd do better. I started working with a mentor who ran a community program and I never looked back. But that past, it doesn't just go away. People still look at me and see trouble. She finally met his gaze, bracing for the judgment, the rejection. Instead, Adam's mouth curved into something that almost looked like admiration. You survived, he said simply. Selena blinked. That's all you have to say? I've sat through board meetings with billionaires who've done worse, Adam said, his tone wry. They just had the money to hide it. You fought your way out of something most people never escape. That doesn't scare me. Selena felt a strange warmth rise in her chest, relief mixed with something dangerously close to hope. Don't romanticize it, she said softly. It wasn't noble. I hurt people. And you're trying to make it right, Adam countered. That's more than most people ever do. Before Selena could respond, Adam's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, frowned, and stood. "Excuse me 1 second," he said, stepping into the kitchen. Selena sipped her water and stared out the window, trying to ignore the unease creeping into her stomach. She could almost feel the city below, the pull of her old life, the people who still whispered her name in alleyways and at late-night corners. When Adam returned, his expression was grim. "That was Catherine," he said. "She knows about your past." Selena stiffened. "Already?" "She hired someone. Pulled your records. She's worried about what this will do to the family's reputation." Selena stood abruptly, the chair scraping against the floor. "I knew this was a mistake." "Selena. She's going to use this against you, Adam. She's going to leak it, spin it, make it sound like I'm still running jobs on the South Side. You have no idea what that kind of scandal could do to you." Adam crossed the room in 2 strides and caught her arm, gently but firmly. "Hey," he said softly. "I don't care what Catherine thinks. I care what you think." Selena swallowed hard. "I think you don't know what you're getting into." Adam's grip didn't loosen. "Then let me find out." For a long moment they just stood there, the city stretching out beyond the glass, the wind howling faintly against the windows. Finally, Selena exhaled shakily. "You really are insane." Adam smiled faintly. "So they tell me." She sank back into the chair, her heart pounding. "Okay," she said finally. "But if you get burned by this, if she takes you down with me, you can't say I didn't warn you." Adam leaned forward, his voice steady. "Then we go down together." Selena stared at him, realizing for the first time that this wasn't just a flirtation or some game for him. This man was serious. And that terrified her more than anything. That night, when Selena returned to her apartment on the South Side, her brother Rico was waiting outside. His tattooed arms were crossed, his expression tight. "You're playing with fire, little sis," he said. Selena leaned against the brick wall, exhausted. "I know. You sure about this guy?" Rico asked. "No," she admitted. Rico sighed, rubbing a hand over his jaw. "Then figure it out fast. People are already talking. And not just on the block, everywhere." Selena stared past him at the skyline, the glittering tower lights like a different universe. "I think it's too late for that," she whispered. Selena's phone buzzed nonstop. Texts, calls, social media notifications exploding with comments. By the time she stumbled into the kitchen of her tiny South Side apartment, the story was everywhere. Her old mugshot, the one from the armed robbery, plastered across every site like a badge of shame. Her chest tightened. She hadn't seen that photo in years. The scared, defiant teenager staring back at her felt like a ghost. She was still staring at it when the knock came at her door. Adam stood there, dark circles under his eyes, his normally perfect hair a mess. He didn't wait to be invited in, just stepped inside and shut the door behind him. "They went too far," he said flatly. Selena swallowed. "Your sister?" Adam nodded once. "Catherine gave the story to the Tribune. Every network picked it up. And now," he exhaled sharply, "the board is calling for me to step down until this blows over." Selena felt her stomach drop. "Step down?" "Adam, this is your family's company." "I don't care." "Yes, you do." She moved toward him, forcing him to meet her gaze. "Don't throw your entire legacy away because of me." "You're not the problem," Adam said, his voice low. "They are. Catherine. The board. This city. They all think you're some danger to me because of where you came from. I'm not going to let them win." Before Selena could respond, shouting erupted from outside. She glanced through the blinds. A crowd of reporters had gathered on the street, cameras flashing, microphones raised. "Oh God," she muttered. "They found me." Adam's jaw tightened. "Pack a bag. You're staying with me." "Adam?" "Selena, you're not facing this alone. Not anymore." By evening they were at his penthouse, but there was no escape from the noise. The media camped out on the sidewalk, helicopters hovered overhead, and Selena's name trended across social media with hashtags ranging from supportive to vicious. Adam sat at the kitchen island, scrolling through his phone, every new notification deepening the lines in his forehead. "What?" Selena asked quietly. He turned the screen toward her. It was Catherine, standing in front of cameras outside the Whitman estate, giving a statement. "Our family has always prided itself on integrity and honor. While we respect Adam's personal choices, we cannot condone relationships that jeopardize the reputation of the Whitman name. The safety of our family and our business must come first." Selena's hands curled into fists. She's calling me dangerous. She's calling you expendable, Adam said bitterly. Selena turned away, pacing. She wants you to choose between me and everything you've ever known. Your family, your company, your money. I already have. She stopped, startled by the calm in his voice. Adam stood, crossing to her. Selena, I've lived my whole life doing what they wanted. Taking over the company, going to the right schools, dating the right women. And I was miserable. You're the first thing that's felt real in a very long time. Selena's throat tightened. Adam, this isn't just about feelings. They're going to ruin you. Catherine will destroy your career, your reputation. Then let her try. He said it with such certainty that for a moment, Selena almost believed him. 2 days later, the situation escalated. The Whitman board announced an emergency meeting. The stock price dropped. Clients began pulling out of deals. Catherine was using every ounce of her influence to paint Adam as reckless, unfit to lead. And then the threat started. Selena opened an anonymous email late one night and froze. It was a photo of her walking out of the community center, a red target circle drawn over her chest. Her heart pounded. She'd expected judgment, slurs, maybe harassment. But this was different. She showed Adam, her hands shaking. His expression went cold. That's it, he said, grabbing his phone. What are you doing? Calling security. You're getting protection. No, Selena said quickly. If people in my neighborhood see me walking around with bodyguards, it'll make things worse. They'll think I sold out. Adam stared at her. Selena, this isn't about appearances anymore. Someone just threatened your life. I've had worse threats. That doesn't make it okay. Adam's voice cracked with frustration. God, do you even hear yourself? You think you have to carry this on your own because you're used to fighting for yourself. But you're not alone anymore. I'm not letting anything happen to you. Selena's chest ached. No one had ever fought for her like this. 2 nights later, the board meeting happened. Adam walked in with Selena at his side, cameras flashing as they entered the marble lobby. You don't have to be here, Adam murmured. Yes, I do, Selena said. If they're going to fire you because of me, I want them to look me in the eye when they do it. Inside the boardroom, Catherine was waiting, immaculate in a tailored navy suit, her expression like carved ice. This isn't personal, Adam, she said smoothly. It's business. Your involvement with this woman is costing us millions. Her name is Selena, Adam said evenly, taking his seat. Catherine's eyes flicked to Selena, disdain barely concealed. Whatever her name is, she's a liability. No, Adam said, leaning forward. She's the only one in this room who actually knows what it means to build something from nothing. She's the future. Not this, he gestured around the table, this house of cards you all are so desperate to protect. Catherine's mouth tightened. Then you leave us no choice. By the end of the meeting, Adam had been officially suspended as CEO. As they walked out into the cold night air, reporters shouting questions, Selena turned to him. You just gave up everything, she whispered. Adam slipped his hand into hers, his grip firm. No. I kept what matters. That night, Selena couldn't sleep. She stood by the window, staring at the frozen lake, her reflection faint in the glass. Adam joined her quietly, wrapping his arms around her waist. This is going to get worse before it gets better, she said softly. Then we face it together, Adam replied. For a moment it felt possible. That maybe, just maybe, they could survive this. But somewhere deep down, Selena knew Catherine wasn't finished yet. And the war between their worlds was only just beginning. The press conference was Catherine's final move. She'd called it under the guise of clarifying misinformation. But Adam knew exactly what she was planning, a public character assassination. Selena had begged him not to go. She'll humiliate you in front of the entire city, she said, pacing the penthouse. You've already been suspended. Just walk away. We can start fresh somewhere else. Adam shook his head. No. She wants me quiet, defeated. If I don't show up, she wins. I'm not letting her write the ending to this story. And what about me? Selena asked, her voice cracking. She's going to drag me through the mud, Adam. Again. She's going to make me look like a criminal who seduced you for money. Adam crossed the room, took her hands in his. Then we go together, he said softly. And we tell them the truth. The Whitman estate gleamed under the winter sky, its stone facade dusted with snow. Reporters lined the driveway, cameras flashing as Adam's black SUV pulled up. Selena's stomach churned, but she kept her chin high as Adam helped her out. Inside, the press conference was already underway. Catherine stood at the podium, poised and perfect, her voice carrying across the room. Our family has faced great challenges in recent weeks, she said, and while we love Adam, we cannot condone his reckless choices. The woman he has chosen to be with has a criminal past, ties to gangs. The doors opened and every head turned as Adam and Selena entered. And has brought shame upon the Whitman name, Catherine finished, her lips curling as she spotted them. Adam strode to the podium, taking the microphone from her. That's enough, Catherine. Gasps rippled through the crowd. You want the truth? Adam said, scanning the room. Fine. Here it is. Yes, Selena Cruz has a past. She made mistakes. She paid for them. And then she did what none of us in this family ever had the courage to do. She turned her life around and started fighting for something bigger than herself. The room was silent except for the click of cameras. I've been groomed since birth to run the Whitman empire, Adam continued. To smile for the cameras, close the deals, and keep the family name spotless. But you know what? That name means nothing if it stands for exclusion, hypocrisy, and fear. So as of today, I'm resigning as CEO, permanently. A ripple of shock went through the crowd. Catherine's face blanched. I will keep my shares, Adam said firmly, because this family's legacy belongs to me just as much as it does to you. But I will no longer be a pawn in your game. He turned, extending a hand toward Selena. And for the record, I'm not giving up anything. I'm choosing something. Someone. Selena hesitated for just a second. The weight of all those flashing cameras, the judgment, the whispers. Then she stepped forward, taking his hand. The reporters shouted questions, microphones shoved toward them. Selena could feel the heat of every stare, the crush of the moment threatening to swallow her whole. She could walk away. She could let Adam take the firestorm alone. But she didn't. Selena stepped to the podium. Her voice shook at first but then grew steady, strong. You all know my name now, she said, looking straight into the cameras. You know what I did when I was 17. What you don't know is why. I grew up in a neighborhood where survival meant making choices no kid should ever have to make. I did bad things. I hurt people. But I paid for my mistakes. And when I got out, I decided I wouldn't let that be the end of my story. She glanced at Adam, then back to the cameras. I started a program to keep kids out of gangs. To give them options I never had. That's who I am now. If you want to judge me for who I used to be, fine. But don't pretend I'm the only one in this city with blood on my hands. Some of the people in this room have done worse. They just wore suits while doing it. A murmur ran through the crowd. Selena's words had hit home. So go ahead, she finished. Write your headlines. Post your photos. Just make sure you tell the whole story. She stepped back, her heart hammering, and Adam wrapped an arm around her, pulling her close as the room erupted into chaos. Hours later, the two of them stood outside the estate, the snow falling softly around them. The press had finally dispersed, leaving only silence. Adam turned to her, his breath visible in the cold air. You were incredible, he said quietly. Selena shook her head. I was terrified. That's what makes it incredible. For a moment they just stood there, staring out at the glittering Chicago skyline in the distance. So what now? Selena asked. Adam smiled faintly. Now, we start over. My way. Our way. Selena exhaled, feeling the weight on her chest finally lift. You sure about this? She asked. Adam nodded. I've never been more sure of anything. Snowflakes drifted around them, catching in Selena's curls. Adam leaned in and kissed her, slow and certain, the world falling away until there was nothing but the two of them. For the first time in a long time, Selena believed they might actually have a future. Not because they'd won the war but because they'd survived it together.